Everybody, welcome back to Mohawk Motors. My name is Jason, and it's time I bring you up to speed. You've been seeing some videos that I've had recorded for a bit, the last couple, and there's stuff moving around. So I want to get you caught up, let you know what the plan is. I teased you a little bit with the CUCV. So let's talk about what we're doing, what I've been doing, and what's coming here, what my plans are. So I think the best place to start here is the last few days I've been picking up some trucks that I bought. Surprise, surprise. But coming into winter, I have a few projects in mind that I want to do, and I'm trying to make sure I have everything that I need. To me, it really doesn't make sense to buy large components. As components, it makes sense to buy an entire truck that has what I need. And here's some good examples for you, right? This black truck I bought, and all this stuff came from Copart. This black truck I bought a couple weeks ago, picked it up, and I gave taxes, fees, and everything. I paid $635 for this one. It's a 2002 2500 HD. And I'm going to show you the listing here, but as I look through on this one, my main thought on it is I think they have this mislabeled. They had this truck labeled, identified as a 2500 HD gas with a 6-liter engine, and it said that the engine started, and that they were offering it up. And you can't really tell from the driver's side, but from the passenger side, this thing got smoked. It's probably one of the hardest hits I've seen. And basically I looked through the pictures and I noticed a few things. I noticed that it had a diesel gauge cluster. I noticed that it had a ton of what looked like soot on the chrome rear bumper near the exhaust. And the wheels on it, to me, they look like what I jokingly refer to as diesel bro wheels. Really big wheels that are poked way out the side of the vehicle. So I looked at this thing and I thought to myself, I think that might be a diesel. I think they might have it misrepresented, misdescribed. So when the auction came up, I watched the live auction. I put one bid on it and I won. And like I said, fees, auction bid, everything, $650 or $635 total I paid for this thing. And it starts and runs. Check this out. It runs really good, and once I got it here, I got to looking at it, and I noticed a few things too. It's got a cold air intake, it's got an aftermarket downpipe, it's got a full aftermarket exhaust, they've got a full gauge set in it, they've got a pyrometer, and then I looked a little closer, this thing's been head studded, and from what I can see, it's got a DSP-5 switch in the dash. So if you're not familiar with the Duramaxes and tuning them, it's basically a 5-tune switch that you can select from stock, towing, economy. Usually there's a hot tune and then one other one. So from what I can see and from what I'm deducting from this truck, I think somebody spent a good bit of money on this engine. And I mean, the studs alone are over $1,000 just to put studs in it, plus the exhaust, the tuning, the other stuff. So I think it's gonna be a really good engine. I'm excited about it because I got it so cheap. Even if only the engine were usable, it would have been a win. But it's also, the whole drivetrain is usable. It's got the big 11.5-inch rear axle. It's got the Allison transmission. This thing is, it's awesome. I'm excited about it. I don't know what to do with it. My thoughts are either try to stuff it into the K5. I think a diesel K5 would be cool, but I'm not sure if that frame is quite up to the task. Or stick it into my green CUCV here. But that also brings me to a dilemma because, let's see, today, ooh, lucky penny. Today is Wednesday. I found a good deal locally on a 91 P-pump 12 valve Cummins. So I'm going to pick that up on Friday. Again, I had originally thought that I was going to just come and swap the green CUCV, but now I've got this Duramax, this entire Duramax drivetrain, so I'm torn back and forth. I think I still want to do the Cummins in the CUCV. It's more period correct to that truck, and also just matches the style. You know, a 12 valve Cummins, that one's out of a bus. You don't even need 12 volt power for it to be running. All you need to do is hit the starter and then it runs, no electricity required. So I'm inclined to put the 12 valve in the CUCV for technology / period correctness, which again means I gotta think of something to do with this drivetrain. It runs too good. It's only got 185,000 miles on it, which for this generation of engines is not a ton of miles. And it's a stout drivetrain. So I need you guys to comment down below ideas, preferably ideas with stuff that I have around here on the property, of what to stuff that Duramax drivetrain into. And then that brings me to the other stuff that I picked up. So this is a 2006 Silverado. It's like the least desirable model ever. It's a 2-wheel drive, single cab, long bed with a 4.3. In this case, a blown up 4.3. That fees and everything I paid like $1,200 for no other reason than the bed. The bed looked really clean, and from checking it out and looking at the bed, the only problems I can find in this thing is right here. We've got a couple little bubbles starting. But otherwise, this bed is clean and straight. And in a minute, I'll show you why I wanted that bed. But the bed alone was worth the purchase price, but it's also got rust-free front fenders, rust-free hood, rust-free doors, rust-free cab, and a clean title. So this truck with a blown up engine is gonna go into making probably 3 or 4 other trucks put back together with nice body parts. Which brings me to this one that I just got back with, and you can tell this one's in pretty sad shape. I don't know if it shows well in the camera here, but the frame, only the top rail of the frame is left above the axle on both sides. So the frame is smoked, and as you can see, the body is pretty much smoked. But fees and everything, I paid, I think, $800 for this one, if I remember correctly. It's got a brand new rear bumper on it. The interior is really nice. It's got a good running L59 flex fuel 5.3 in it. It drove onto the trailer. So again, it's a can't lose for me. I'll use the engine. I'll use the good body parts that are on it. The hood, the front fenders, the tailgate, and probably the rear axle, the transmission. Like, these are just parts supply trucks for the most part. No new projects, just part supply. I forgot to mention too, look at this sweet flush mount bed cover. That was on that black Duramax truck. Now it lives on my silver single cab here. And I think that's all I've dragged home recently. So let's talk a little bit more about what some of these parts are for. So the first one I want to get to is gonna hopefully get 2, maybe 3 trucks out of here and yield one really, really nice truck that I'm excited about. So you remember I've got this 2006 2500 HD back here behind the workshop. And this one's special because it's got a manual transmission, 6-liter engine, 5-speed NV 4500, which, especially being an '06, is kind of a rare bird. And what I'm ready to do now that I've gathered up all my parts is combine a few trucks and get this one put back together. I've got a rust-free extended cab right here that I'm going to use, because I am not about cutting and splicing roofs and things back together on these trucks. The frame on this thing is beautiful. I've now got the nice 8-foot bed on that single cab that's in the workshop right now. I've now got enough nice fenders to get the front end put back together, a nice bumper, and then everything else. So before the weather really gets bad, I need to get these 2 trucks out of here and start getting things put together. And in case you're wondering, part of why I got that 8-foot bed is this one's got a whammy and it's growing moss and lichen, and as many of these fender flares, it's kind of rusty underneath. It's a little crunchy. So this one, you can see it's been whammied at the bumper. Not quite good enough for what I want this truck to be. Still good enough for a lot of things though. So I'm gonna use all my nice rust-free parts to build a really clean, rust-free '06 2500 HD with a 5-speed manual. And like I said, I got to do it before the weather gets really bad, because I won't be able to get the truck out of here once it gets to a certain point. It just, the ground gets too squishy, and I'll ruin the property doing it. So then that brings me to this guy. So this is the silver single cab that I put all together. You know, spliced, repaired, painted the frame, got the bed, got the cab, and then I believe I mentioned that when I took it to enhanced inspection, they told me the paint has to match. So I was able to find some nice front fenders that are the right color locally on Marketplace. I got those on there. The hood needs to be washed. This hood is off of the truck that donated the engine, and then it's going to go to enhanced inspection. I'm actually planning to take that tomorrow. So hopefully by the end of next week, that will be back from enhanced inspection. You will have seen this video by then. I'll offer it to you guys first. If you want this truck, you know what's been done to it, you know the work that's gone into it, you can email me, you can find me on Instagram and shoot me a message, but I'll give it a week to you guys before it gets listed publicly, locally on like Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist. So if you want it, don't dilly-dally. Oh, and that brings me to another vehicle for sale, guys. The Ass Blazer. If you've been here, if you've been a subscriber or seen the videos, the playlist on this thing, you know I put a ton of work into this thing. And it was great. It served the purpose. It did what I wanted it to do. Still does what I want it to do. But the primary reason I put this thing together was to take my kids to and from school drop-off. And it was awesome. I loved it. And I've had a blast. They loved riding in it. I've had a blast taking it to Carlisle this year. Every time I drive it, people look at it, they give me thumbs up, they come to check it out, they ask me about it. Like, it's a great, fun vehicle. It's quick for what it is. And like I said, my kids really love riding in it. But now I have 3 kids, and this thing is not, it's not friendly for my age kids. If you had some older, if our kids were older and could safely buckle and unbuckle themselves, I wouldn't even think about selling it. But it's going to be a few years until we reach that point. And with 3 kids, it just doesn't work. It's not convenient. So I still drive it once or twice a week, you know, quick trips to and from the store, wherever, when I'm by myself, to and from Carlisle, like I said. But for the most part, it just doesn't get driven enough. And I'd rather try to get some of my money back out of it. I don't expect to get all my money back out of it, but I like to try to get some of my money back out of it so I can put it into some of these other projects that I think will be more fun, show better, and make good content for you guys. So if you're interested in this thing and you haven't already, check out the build playlist, the ass blazer. And if you have any other questions, just get a hold of me. You can comment on the video, you can email me, you can find me on Instagram and message me through there. Lots of ways, but this one's got to go too. I don't want to store it for the winter. I'd like to get it out of here before the weather really gets crummy. It's got a clean frame. There's no rust in the body, but it just, my family has grown and changed, and it doesn't suit our needs. It doesn't work for what I had. It still works for what I built it to do, but we don't do that anymore. So yeah, that one, unfortunately, it needs to find a new home. How about what I teased you with? The CUCV. So I had it in the workshop to do some evaluation and figure out what I want to do with this thing. And the last time you guys saw it on the channel was the burnout call out challenge for New Year a couple years ago. Woo! Oh shit, I got a fire. And in doing that, I think I popped a head gasket. The coolant part of what I wanted to figure out is what's actually wrong with this thing, because it was smoking out of the exhaust and it just wasn't running quite right. So I brought it in, and I've got low coolant. I've got not great compression on 2 cylinders. I haven't done a leak down test yet, but it's enough for me that I was probably going to pull the engine out anyway. I think we're going to do the full deal on this thing. The body on this truck is good enough that I'm confident and comfortable in doing the repairs that it needs. A couple cab corners, a pair of new front fenders, and I basically want to go full tilt frame off on this one. So once I get the 2500 HD with the manual all put together and out, then we're going to bring the CUCV in and start tearing it apart and getting ready to rebuild it like I did with the other silver single cab as a restoration plus. I have another engine that I want to put in it that I'm going to do some stuff to before we put it in there. I'm going to ditch the turbo. It's just going to be naturally aspirated, and we're going to upgrade it from the turbo 400 to a 4L80. I want to have the tunability on the 4L80. It's going to get Holley Terminator as engine management, transmission management, maybe some other stuff too. We've already done most of the work on the drive line from the transmission back, but I do want to get the frame blasted and painted. I want to repair any and all of the rust. I'm going to paint the whole truck, and I mean, we're talking a full in pieces, so it'll be color matched like a factory paint job. And I'm excited for this thing. It's going to be a big project, but I think this is a good winter project when I'm not going to be moving stuff in and out, in and out. I can take this thing all apart. I'll have space in the workshop for all of it, and I can take my time with it and try to do a really, 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 really nice job.
A few minutes later.
All right, parts truck is put away. As you can see, the single cab truck is loaded up. I'm gonna leave that there. That way it's ready to go tomorrow. It's time for me to go up and have dinner. And then when we come back down, I got a little work to do on this black truck. I really just need to be able to move it around for the time being. And as you can see, there was a bunch of stuff on this side that was totally trashed. I had to take it off, and I got some other pieces to put it back together so I can move it around here. So we'll do that when I come back down, and then I'll probably call it for this video. Well, it's a little while later, everybody. Had dinner, got the kids to bed, came back down, I'm getting more stuff done. So this truck, whatever it hit on this side, it completely broke the steering knuckle. It folded the upper control arm. The frame's a little bit bent, but not so much that I can't get a wheel back on it. So I've got a new upper control arm, a new lower ball joint because that was sheared off, and a new tie rod. And yes, these are new parts. Guys, it was faster and cheaper for me to just buy new parts online, given they're probably like the lowest quality you can get parts, but I'm not driving this thing on the road. I just need to be able to move it. So I got those on there. I didn't want to put new parts on, but I don't have a truck around here that I can immobilize to steal parts off of. So I got it together enough. Tomorrow, a new knuckle gets here. A whole new knuckle was only like 60 bucks. They probably would have charged me more than that to pull one myself out of a U-Pull-It yard. Not to mention I'd have to go through all the headache and hassle of pulling it. So got that, got the wheel bearing, rotor, caliper, and a new tie rod here. So when the new knuckle gets here tomorrow, I'll be able to stick this thing back together and drive it out of my way. And it'll go sit out back until I or we can come up with something to do with this drivetrain. I definitely want to use it. I'm excited about it, but I don't know what to do with it. I don't think it's right for the CUCV. Like I said, the Cummins, the 12 valve feels more period correct to me for that truck, which is what I would like to do. So 99% sure I'm going to put the 12 valve into that green CUCV. And this drivetrain, we got to figure out something else to put it in. Leave me a comment. Let me know. What are your ideas? What can you think of? What do you think it would be cool to have a Duramax in? So I'm going to see what else I can get into down here before I wrap this video up. Well, it's the next evening, everybody, and I'm held up waiting on parts. The steering knuckle for this truck did not show up yet. Can't do anything else with this. Can't get it out of my way until that gets here. And I'm gonna have to do a whole big shuffle when I do that. So I'll get this truck out of my way at that point too. It can sit outside for the time being. But there's a lot going on this weekend. I did get the little silver single cab dropped off at enhanced inspection today, and a quick look over it. He said everything looks good, so he'll get it up on the lift tomorrow, check everything out. Hopefully by Monday or Tuesday, it'll be all cleared, good to go. And I can have that thing, get all the paperwork done, and have it all legal and on the road by the end of next week. But one other update I forgot to mention. If you remember my white single cab long bed 2002 2500 HD, I took that truck up to Fall Carlisle with me. I took it and the Ass Blazer, and I actually sold that truck at Fall Carlisle. I got a really good offer on it that for what I use the truck, I'd rather have that money in hand, especially going into the winter with some other projects in mind. So that truck was purchased, and it now lives up near Erie. So a little sad to see it go, but also I wasn't driving it very much. And as much as I love that truck, I'm at the point I have other things I want to work on. There was nothing else I could do to that one other than just drive it and enjoy it. And I did a lot of that, and now it's on to a new home where it'll get used. The guys plan on daily driving it. So glad it's off to a new home and somebody else can enjoy that one as well. So that's it for this one, team. I'm going to finish getting it edited so I can get this thing up for you tomorrow. And until the next video, take care.